Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? You, yes you, are the 5th video that I have made today. I can hardly believe it. I've been on fire today. I've been on fire, and I have to tell you, I woke up, and I was so tired today when I woke up. I stayed up a little bit too late last night, and I could not fall asleep last night to save my life. I just like literally tossed and turned all night long. And so I woke up today and I was like, oh God, I'm so tired. And then I started having some iced coffee and I woke up a little bit. So this is my 2nd cup of coffee. I wasn't really drinking coffee recently, but like I've been starting to drink this iced coffee. This is actually the very last part, that's why I filled it up all the way, of the 2nd bottle that I had, and so I'm completely out of it now. Tomorrow Caroline and I are running around and doing some errands, so I am gonna get some more iced coffee because I've been really enjoying the iced coffee lately. But anyway, so I started making videos. I can't even remember which one I started with first. I did a rant video on my Peter Monn channel, and then I did a Peter Does Stuff video, a Peterisms video. Oh, I did a review video first. That's what I did first. I reviewed this vest, this heated vest that I was sent by Aurora. And you can go watch my review on my review channel, but I will tell you it works, and I'm kind of in love with it, which is why I'm wearing it. And it's so cozy and comfy, and it heats all up in the back too, which is like in the back and around the neck, which is really nice. It's so funny because I was just coming out here and Alex was like, did you buy that or did somebody send it to you? And I was like, no, they sent it to me for an honest review. And I was like, it was kind of expensive too. And I was like, it's really nice. And he was like, does it work? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, does it have a battery charger? And so I was kind of explaining it to him, which you can see on the review video. But I'm like, yeah, it's really cozy. It's really nice. So he's like, oh, that's really cool. So anyway, there's like all these cardinals out here. There's like 2 cardinals in the street. So crazy. They're beautiful. They're like bright red cardinals. I mean, obviously cardinals are red, but they're like super bright red. There's been a lot of cardinals around here this year. Actually, I have to tell you kind of a funny story. But anyway, so I love the vest. But I got this fern, okay, from Costco. I think I've shown it to you guys, but I got this fern up in here. And so we used to, I don't know if you can see the carriage light up there. So that was where a couple years ago, Mrs. Birdie built her nest. And, oh, there's the cardinals right down there on the end of the street. So Alex was like, you couldn't even come out of the door because every time we would come out of the door, Mrs. Birdie would fly away, right? And so Alex was like, we're not doing this next year. Like, we're putting something on top of the carriage light. So, which made me really sad because I don't know if you guys remember, but I got real attached to Mrs. Birdie. So we have a rock on top of the carriage light now so that birds can't put nests in there. Well, the last couple years, when I've gotten a fern, birds build nests in the fern. And I don't typically catch it like right away. And last year, I don't know if you remember, but like I couldn't even water the fern because the birds were building nests in the fern. And then I couldn't figure out if like they had stopped building the nest or if they were still building. I didn't really know. So anyway, so yesterday and today when I've come out here, a bird flies out of the fern. And I haven't like pulled it down yet to look. I just watered it. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So there was no nest in there when I watered it before. But you know, birds can build nests literally like in hours. And so I need to look up there and see. And then I was kind of like sitting here and I was like, okay, these are the thoughts that Peter Monn has, right? Like, should I put a rock in there so that a bird can't build a nest? Because the thing is, like, every time I come out, they fly away, right? Because like they get nervous and I'm right here. Or should I just let Mrs. Birdie too build a nest because it brought me so much joy that there was a bird with, I mean, you know, the fern is going to be fine. It won't die in a month if I don't water it or whatever. And, you know, people were like, you can water around the nest, but I didn't want to get the nest wet last year or scare the mom or anything. So anyway, so I don't know. I'm kind of thinking I'm just going to let her build her nest, and it brings me so much joy to have the the bird's nest up there. I actually need to put my bird feeders up that I got. That bird thing that I didn't get forever, and then they finally sent it to me. And then the other one that they reached out to me and they were like, do you want one to try? Because I had like referenced it in my video. So I have 2 of those that have like the app on them. I need to like set those up out back because I said I was going to do that when it got nicer. So I need to do that one of these days. I think it's called My Birdie or something like that. I did a rant video about it. But anyway, I have those sitting in the garage in the boxes, like right next to the door. I need to do those. Because I love to look at the birds. So I'm thinking I'm just going to let the bird build its nest and enjoy the fern. And you know, underneath here is like a really safe place. Like animals can't get the eggs because like, you know, other animals don't come up underneath here and stuff like that, and they don't go into the fern. So for birds, it's like a really safe place to build a nest. And so I'm like, I don't know, it just makes me kind of happy to know that I can have a safe place for the birds to build their nests. And you know, it's so funny because I did a video, like I can't remember where I put it up, but it was like Boo Radley and his friend Steve, and Steve was like the runt of the bird litter. Do you guys remember when I did this video? It was so silly. I probably have it on my phone, but my phone's inside because I'm uploading another video on it. And I did this like little short video where it was like Boo Radley and he was running around the backyard. He's like, leave me alone, don't talk to me about my friend Steve. And he was real upset when Steve the bird left. And it's so funny because every once in a while like birds will come up here and I'm like, I wonder if the birds that like grew up on the nest on top of our carriage house, like if they ever come back here and they're like, this is where I was born, this is, I'm sure they don't, you know, but I always wonder that. I sit out here, I spend so much time out here just looking at the flowers and the birds and talking to my neighbors that I like have the strangest thoughts go through my head. I wonder just like the most bizarre things about the squirrels and the birds and everything like that. Last night this cat, this black and white cat was like, I don't even know whose it is. It was like walking along here. I've seen it before, so it's somebody in my neighborhood. But it like walked along and then it came right to the edge of the sidewalk, our little walkway here, and it like turned and it like looked at me for the longest time, like 3 minutes. It just sat there just like with its head turned looking at me. And then it just like all of a sudden just like kept on walking. And I didn't see it again last night. So last night I watched 2 documentaries that were actually fantastic. My friend had told me to watch The Imposter. She's really into documentaries, and so she was recommending documentaries to me, like true crime ones and whatever. And she had told me to watch this documentary called The Imposter, and she said she watched it on Tubi. And if you don't know what Tubi is a streaming service that you can download for free. It has ads on it, but it's free, so you can watch all kinds of movies and stuff like that for free on there. I think it even has like TV shows and stuff. But I love Tubi. Anyway, and it has tons of documentaries on there. So I was going to watch The Imposter. And there was something about it. I just was kind of like, I don't know that I really want to watch this or whatever. So anyway, I was like looking through all the documentaries, and there was this one called Rich Hill. And it was about Rich Hill, Missouri, which was this town that was kind of like split between like middle class and poverty level people. And it followed like 3 teenage boys. I think they were like 13, 14, and 15 that like lived in poverty. And when I was watching the trailer for it, it really reminded me of this documentary that I had seen years ago that I loved. And it was called, I think it was called Steve or Stevie or something like that. Actually, there's a documentary on Tubi about Stevie Nicks that I want to watch, but it was called like Steve or Stevie or something like that. And it was about this kid that was like teenage years too, and he had like a foster brother, and the foster brother like went back, not foster brother, big brother, like in the big brother and big sister, like went back like years later to see like what had happened to him and like followed up like where he was now and things like that. It was this fantastic documentary. I can't remember what it's called, but it's really good. If you've ever seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And it kind of reminded me of that a little bit, and it won all these awards at the Sundance Film Festival, this Rich Hill. And so I was like, I'm gonna watch this Rich Hill. And so I started watching it, and it's actually, so, you know, I Google everything, and so when I'm Googling it, it came out in 2014, so I was like, well, what happened to these kids since then? And so, like, I started Googling, like, what had happened to these kids since then, and, like, for two of them, like really sad stuff happened, and for one of them, like the mom passed away like right before they were going to go to Sundance Film Festival, and like he's actually the one that's like doing the best now, and he like was trending on Facebook for like helping this family like anyway redo their car and stuff like that for free, or like for a tank of gas basically. And but it was really an interesting documentary. It was kind of slow, but it followed these three kids that grew up in poverty, and kind of it talked a lot about like how like one kid's mom was in prison, and it went in and explained, it was really a sad story about how she ended up there, and then explained like his background, and then it showed this other kid, and his dad had left when he was 6, and he had like a lot of anger issues, and he ended up in like juvenile detention. And then the other kid was just like trying to be like really like focused. He was very God-centered, and he was like trying to be like very focused on positivity and stuff, and just loved his family, and it was interesting how much like, you know, they loved their families, and they were super protective of their families and stuff. But like at school, like kids would give them a hard time and call them dirty and snub their noses at them and stuff like that. And but there was a lot of like really sweet innocent moments in it too. Like it showed them like coming back from this 4th of July thing. This one family, there was like 6 kids in the family, 4 or 6 kids, and it showed like the little kids like doing somersaults like in the yard as they were walking, and like the one sister, she was doing like cartwheels, and there was just a lot of innocence to it too. Basically just showing that like, you know, no matter if you like grow up in wealth or poverty, like kids are kids, and then like universally the issues that they deal with are similar. It was a really good documentary, and it was called Rich Hill, and it's on Tubi if you want to see it. So I watched that, and then I watched The Imposter because my friend had told me to watch it, and it's on Tubi as well. And I started watching it, and I was like, I think I might have watched this, but I was like, maybe I just watched the trailer for it. Like I couldn't remember it at all, right? And it's about, you find out right from the beginning what it's about. It's about this kid that went missing in San Antonio, Texas in like 1993 or something like that, 1994. And then this guy in Spain basically steals his identity. And he is like 23, but he acts like he's 15, and he goes in this children's home, and he, like, there's, the way he does it is like unbelievable, but he basically convinces the authorities and his family that he's this missing kid from San Antonio, Texas, but he's now in Spain, and that he was basically sex trafficked and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, it's this unbelievable story about why this family believes him, and him convincing the authorities and all this kind of stuff, when he's been like stealing identities from people for like years and years and years and years, and really has no remorse about it whatsoever. I mean, they interview him through the whole thing, like he's the major participant of the whole documentary, and it's just, it's the craziest thing. But I got like 3/4 of the way through it. I kept on thinking like, I've seen this, but then like it would go in different directions, and I was like, no, like I remember that this happened and then that didn't happen. And I got like 3/4 of the way through it, and something happened, and I was like, oh no, I've definitely seen this. Like I remember watching this. And it was like when he was going to school, because he like goes to Texas, and he ends up like going back to high school and whatever. And I'm like, and it's something he says about like, I get to start over and go to high school in the United States with a U.S. passport and all. I mean, they give him a U.S. passport. It's like crazy. And so like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, oh, I totally remember the scene, like, of him going to high school and whatever. And, but then I couldn't remember how it ended, so I wanted to keep on watching it. So I kept on watching it, but then I got like really, really tired, and so when it was over, I went to bed. We had marriage counseling last night, and then after marriage counseling, we went to eat at Puccini's, and I had a salad, which I ate like a third of. I'm not hungry at all anymore. And Puccini's is pasta and like pizza and stuff like that. And so I was like, what can I eat that is pretty bland and isn't gonna like affect my stomach or anything? So I got angel hair pasta with marinara sauce on it, and I literally ate like 3 bites of it and brought the rest of it home. It's still in the fridge. So I didn't really eat a whole lot last night. Alex got a large cheese pizza. The salad was good. I just couldn't eat a lot of it. I'm having like a really hard time like eating vegetables and stuff right now. I don't know if it's like lingering effects from the pancreatitis. That's what my neurologist said that he thought it was. But hopefully that changes because I want to start eating more fruits and vegetables. But yeah, so we went and we ate at Puccini's last night after our marriage counseling session. And then we came home and I was so tired. Like when we were at dinner, I was like, Alex, I could fall asleep right now. And he was like, yeah, me too. And so we got home. Thank God I did my vlog before because I was going to wait and maybe when we got home do it. We got home and I lay down at like 8 o'clock and I set my alarm for 10 so I could get up and watch some TV, and I ended up sleeping until like 11 o'clock and was just absolutely deep sleep. So I must have needed it. I don't know. You know, it's interesting, like, in talking to Tanya and talking to my friend Valerie and stuff like that, they're like, I don't think this way anymore because it's been so long, but like Valerie today, she was like, Peter, like I was telling her how tired I was and whatever, and she's like, you were really sick. Like, you're still healing. Like, all of my friends keep on saying that to me, like, you're still healing. And I'm like, yeah, but it's been so long. Like, I should be better. I should be back to normal. And they're like, you're still healing. Like, it takes a long time. You know, like my sponsor said to me, and a couple people in the vlog said this too, like, for each day that you're in the hospital, like, that's a week of healing. Which I've been out of the hospital now for, it'll be 5 weeks, I think, on Friday. And I was in the hospital for 6 days, which would be 6 weeks, which means I still have like a week and a half that if like that's true, that I'm still healing. I feel pretty good. I'm just tired. And I really truly believe, like Alex and I were talking about this last night, that me being lethargic and tired is really from the Keppra, and when the Keppra like evens out in my system, you know, I really think also it's like the Depakote is getting out of my system and the Keppra is coming into my system, and so when that all like goes away, because Alex was like, you know, with the Depakote, like back when you started it, you told me that you were really tired, which I was. Like I can remember when I first started the Depakote when I was, you know, 23 years ago or whatever, that I was really tired when I first started taking it. And so with the Keppra, I'm sure it's the same thing. It's just going to take me a while. I've had some people comment on my videos and say that like their husbands or themselves have been on Keppra and it took like months. And so I'm hoping that's not the case. They have me on really high doses of the Keppra, so that might be the other thing. I was like reading online and like of what most people, like the doses that most people are on, and I'm like triple that. So, which I'm sure because they were worried about like the seizure disorder and things like that. So, I don't know, you know, we're just gonna have to see. Every day I, you know, just try to be positive about it and be like, okay, whatever, like Caroline's coming to pick me up tomorrow. Caroline's been sick the last 2 days, but she's gonna come pick me up tomorrow, and I'm like excited about that, and like we'll probably go out for like an hour or two, you know, and do something, have something to for lunch maybe, and hopefully, you know, I'm very limited in the places that I can go. Like last night Alex was like, well, do you want to go get something to eat or do you want to bring something home? And I was like, I don't really know. Like tonight I think I'm gonna get another one of those vegetarian sandwiches from Piata because I was able to eat that and like keep it down, and it was a little spicy, but like not in a bad way for me. And it was very kind of just like plain. It was like hummus and like arugula, even though like I said, like lettuce and stuff kind of hurts my stomach a little bit. It was like cut up enough that I think that it wasn't bad. So I really like that sandwich, and it's healthy, and I think that I can have that. So I think I'm gonna order DoorDash another one of those tonight. But like as far as going places to eat, like I can have like plain omelets, I can have like, you know, stuff like that, but like grilled cheese, like soup isn't even sounding good to me. Anything fried, nothing like that sounds good to me at all, like to eat. And you know, in all honesty, to be really honest with you guys, like I was telling Tanya this last night, like I am really tired of talking about, and I know that I talk a lot about it on here and you guys are probably like, oh yeah, sure, but like I'm really tired of talking about the health issues. Like I'm bored of it. But I also feel like it's all anybody asks me about, like in my personal life. They're like, how do you feel? Like everybody, you know, it's nice, but they're like, how are you feeling? How are you doing today? And so then I go like right into it. I'm like, well, I'm tired, but like I feel better. Thankfully, I haven't been super nauseous the last couple days. Like I haven't been vomiting. I haven't felt really sick, which that's great. Like I feel really good about that. And I've just been like relaxing a lot. I'm proud of myself for making 5 videos today. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I got really excited about it too. Like, that was the other thing. Like, it took me a little while to get motivated and start today. Like, I was talking to my friend Valerie, and she's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm trying to get motivated to make videos. And she's like, well, you don't have to make videos. And I go, well, I don't have to, but like, I want to, you know? And so when I did the vest video, which I've been meaning to do this video for like, since it's been cold. They sent this vest to me like 2 months ago. And I've been meaning to do it for a while. And so anyway, I was like, I did this video, and then like as soon as I went inside and started uploading, I was like, I'm gonna do this rant video, because I kind of fed that out yesterday. And then I was like, I want to do this Peter Does Stuff video talking about, in my Peter Does Stuff video, I talked about my weight loss and what my plan is to go forward. So if you want to know about that. And then I was like, okay, I want to do a Peterisms video, and then I want to do my vlog. And I got real excited. Like, it was like the first day that I've been really excited about filming, and I don't know how I'll feel when I get done vlogging, but like as of right now, like I don't feel like super exhausted or tired from filming, which is new for me, because in the last week and a half that I've been back to filming, like I've been really tired, like every time that I've been filming. So yeah, so there's that. And then the birds, aren't they so pretty? We might watch Atlanta tonight, because The Real Housewives of Atlanta was on Sunday and we haven't watched it yet. And I don't think I have any other TV shows that come on tonight. I don't know. Okay, the Last Thing He Told Me comes out Friday. From comes out Sundays. Love and Death, I don't know when it comes out. I think it comes out the 18th, I think it said. Atlanta. RuPaul comes out Friday. A couple people asked me what I thought of RuPaul's All-Star. So Alex hasn't watched. I watched him the other night. He was like, I don't know if did I say that? But anyway. But like, I watched the first 2 episodes, and I watched the first 2 Untucked. I was not blown away by the All-Star cast. And it's interesting because a lot of people are like, who was available is kind of like who they were having on the All-Stars. And I have to say, to some degree, I kind of agree with that. Like, I don't necessarily feel like the people that they have on the cast are All-Stars. I feel like a few of them are. But I don't feel like in the past, the All-Star cast were really All-Stars. Like, this is kind of like who was available and willing to do it. I don't know, it just kind of seemed, there's like a lot of people that I would have preferred to have seen on here. Although, in watching the episodes, I really felt like they held their own. Like, I was really impressed. I thought Mrs. Kasha Davis was fantastic. Heidi in Closet is fantastic. Who else? Kahana Montrese, which we saw in Vegas at the RuPaul show. Like, I was kind of surprised. Like, I wasn't, like, when she was part of the show in Vegas, I think she was kind of a filler because somebody was absent. And so we were like, who's Kahana Montrese? I don't even remember her from RuPaul's Drag Race, but she's really good on the All-Star season. I mean, there's a couple people that are really good, you know? I think Candy Muse thinks she's better than she is. Candy Muse is an example, and I don't dislike her. Like, Alex like doesn't really care to watch her, but like Candy Muse is somebody that is a good example of how confidence carries you a long way, because she is so believes in herself and so believes that she's the hottest ticket in town. And when you believe in that, like I was just kind of talking about this in my Peterisms video, because that was what the meditation was about, that when you believe in yourself and you believe that you deserve good things come to you. And I think she's a really good example of that. I think she walks a fine line between being confident and being cocky. But I don't dislike her, and I think that her drag is really fun and it's really interesting. Who else is on the show? Jessica Wilde, I think, is fun. She was on season 2, I think. There's a lot of like queens that were on like the beginning seasons. I have to tell you, Naysha Lopez is on it. Like, I'm not going to say anything about, you know, who the first 2 queens are that get kicked off or anything like that. And even though they get kicked off, there's like a secret to it. So you have to keep on watching if you want to know what the secret is. But there's like a secret to RuPaul's Drag Race this season, where even if you're kicked off, there's another way for you to win. So watch for that. That's interesting as well. What was I going to say? Oh, I was looking at this thing. on Twitter. I don't even follow Naysha Lopez on Twitter, but I was just talking about this in my rant video. So many people, and this is a good example, that I don't even follow or anything like that. Like, they come up in my feed. I'm so tired of it. But then I end up falling down the rabbit hole and reading all this stuff. So Naysha Lopez retweeted this thing that James Ross, who, that's the name that he prefers to go by now, but was Tyra Sanchez that won RuPaul's Drag Race. And it's caused a lot of controversy through the years and said things about the franchise and whatever. He said something about Naysha Lopez, and Naysha Lopez retweeted it, and they got like in this kind of like back and forth war. And I don't like follow most of, I think I follow like Sasha Colby, Ginger Minge, Nina West, because I knew of Nina West from pageants like years ago when she won Entertainer of the Year. Fantastic. Like, I don't follow like a lot of RuPaul's Drag Race queens. Pheromone, I think I follow. She follows me, which is really nice. Ginger Minge follows me, which is really nice. But like, I don't follow like a lot of these queens, and so I think they might have followed me first, and then that's why I followed them, because I was like blown away. I was like, oh my god, Pheromone knows who I am. Like, I love her, right? I think she actually just had a year sober. I think I read something like that, or she put that up on Twitter. But anyway, so I don't follow a lot of them, right? And so you hear about this back and forth, like this kind of like, who's the other one that I follow? Oh, I don't even know. But anyway, so I don't see a lot of this like battle that goes back and forth between the fans. You always hear about it, you know, that the fans fight over the queens and they have all this stuff to say, and then the queens get in these fights and blah, blah, blah. I don't see it because I don't follow a lot of them, right? And, like, I mean, the stuff that I see, like Ginger Minge just put up that they're auctioning clothes off to benefit something. Like, that's the kind of stuff that, like, most of the queens that I follow put up there, right? So I don't see a lot of this back and forth, like this war that goes on. So it was really interesting to me to see Naysha Lopez come out and say this stuff about James Ross, who is Tyra Sanchez, or was Tyra Sanchez. And I was just kind of blown away by it. I was like, this is so interesting to me that you guys are being so shady and calling each other out like this, you know? But then you say that it's the audience and it's the fans that get you all started, but you guys are coming for each other and all this kind of stuff, which I thought Naysha Lopez, like, stood her ground and was like, enough is enough. I'm not going to have you say this crap about me. I thought she had every right to say what she was saying in it. But I'm a Naysha Lopez super fan because she won Miss Continental, and I'm a pageant fan, so... but anyway... Who else is on the show that I really like? I love Heidi in Closet. I think she's so funny and she's so sweet. What was interesting was when I was watching the beginning of it, like, she came up to each person that walked in and gave them a hug. Like, no other queen did that. Like, she's just so genuinely sweet, I think, at least on TV, you see her that way. You could tell she really cares about the other queens and the sisterhood of it and stuff like that. So, that was good. Who else is on it? I don't know, it's just like not any of them do I wouldn't look at the cast of the All-Stars and be like, okay, this person deserves to be Queen of the All-Stars. Like, I feel like All-Stars is like a step above, you know, all the other ones. Now, I know like Candy Muse was like first runner-up or something like that, but... And it was interesting because she said something about like, but Simone stole the crown, and I was like... Is that who Candy Muse lost to, was Simone? Because Simone was like heads and tails above Candy Muse. Like, Simone was so good. Like, and I, like, everything that she did was so incredible. I was like, I didn't remember that it was the two of, like, the three of you or whoever it was. Oh, Darian Lake is on it. And I actually really like Darian Lake. Darian Lake was the top four with Adore Delano and Courtney Act and Bianca Del Rio. I think it was the four of them that were the top four the year that she was on. But I really like Darian Lake. Alexis Michelle is on. Alex doesn't like her. She's fine. I don't have any issues with her. Who else is on it? Oh, who's the one that wore the bags? Lala Ree. cute, funny. I think she's hilarious. She's good TV. But like, okay, that's a good example. Like, do I think she's all-star material? No, not at all. Like, are you kidding me? I don't know that I think that any of them are really all-star material. Like, if I had to pick an all-star cast, like, this isn't who I would pick, you know? So it's interesting. I wonder who they reached out to and who said no, because it's now coming out in a lot of these interviews, and there's a lot of people like Joseph Shepard. I don't know if you know who that is, but I love his show. He does like interviews and talk shows and stuff like that with all of the RuPaul queens. And he's very much like Johnny, oh shoot, it stopped. But he's very much like Johnny McGovern with Lady Red Couture that passed away. I loved her so much. They interview, like he interviews the drag queens and asks them questions and stuff like that. He has a podcast he does with Laganja Estranja. And, but what was I going to say about him? Oh, it's like coming out, like they ask a lot. He asks a lot of these queens, like, oh, you were asked to do All-Stars, or you were asked and you didn't, you turned it down. And so it's interesting to me that a lot of these queens are turning down doing All-Stars. And I don't know, like, I'm just not blown away by the cast this season. I mean, I'll watch it and I love it. And because there's a few people in there that I really like Heidi N Closet. But but like even Heidi N Closet, do I think that she's like all-star material, that she should be the queen of the all-stars? No, I don't think she's that good. I don't think any of them are that good that I'm watching. So that's just kind of how I feel about it. But maybe I'll be convinced otherwise as I watch, you know, the season go by. But like I said, like I think that they've really held their own. Like they had an acting challenge, and the acting challenge was absolutely hilarious. Like all four of them were really good in it, or all four of the parts of the acting challenge. They did like these like SNL, it was like Saturday Night Live skit, but it was called like RuPaul's Drag Race Live or something like that. And it was good. It was like all of it was good. Like I thought it was really funny, the whole thing. So I don't know. So maybe they can hold their own. I just don't think like. In the past, like even like UK, oh, Jimbo is on it. Oh, Jimbo I love. Like I think Jimbo is fantastic. Jimbo to me is all-star quality. Like Jimbo is somebody that if he can make it all the way through, like I think he is somebody that is deserving of an all-star crown. But he's from Canada, so you know, it's interesting that they have, I think they had the Vivienne on an all-star cast, didn't they? I love the Vivienne from England, or for the UK. So we'll see. I don't know. I love watching it. It's so fun. I have like, right now I have like 8 shows that I'm watching. And the only one that I can binge watch is Fear the Walking Dead, because I still have like 3 seasons to catch up. And I'm just like really not into watching it right now. Like the season that I'm watching is so slow. And Tanya told me, she said, you've got to just get through this season. She's like, once you get to the next season, she's like, it's really fast. But like, I'm so bored of the season. It's the one where the woman has the camera and she like records everybody telling their story. Like, I'm so just done with it. I feel like it's been dragging on forever. And, but I want to watch the next season of Fear the Walking Dead. I think it's the final season that's coming out, season 7 or 8. It just started. But like I have like, it's another one where they release like 1 episode a week. So I have weeks to, you know, catch up. And I think I have like 64 episodes to watch, or half of that, or something like that. I looked it up and I counted, and I was like, oh my god, I still have like so many episodes to watch of the show. So I don't know. Right now, I'm just watching the most random stuff. Did I tell you guys that I watched Missing Dead or Alive on Netflix? That was really good. I was really super impressed with that. And I've been thinking about watching Ozark, because so many people have told me how much they loved Ozark. My husband loved Ozark. Tanya loved Ozark. And I also want to watch Yellowstone. Alex is watching Yellowstone right now, and he loves it. Tanya loved Yellowstone. Everybody that I know loves Yellowstone. But the thing is, until I finish and catch up with Fear the Walking Dead, like I don't want to start another long series. It's like 4 or 5 seasons, because it's like I don't want to have 2 seasons where I'm going back and forth, or 2 shows where I'm watching like 3 episodes at a time. Now tomorrow, my goal is, it's supposed to be a little bit warmer tomorrow, and next week it's supposed to be like in the upper 70s, lower 80s, and then the last week of May, it's supposed to be in the mid 80s the whole time. So tomorrow, my goal is, depending on how I feel, I don't even know how much I'll film tomorrow because of being with Caroline. So if I get back and I'm super tired, I may just film my vlog and that'll be it. But I would really like to walk for like 20 to 30 minutes, which is like nothing, right? But I would really like to walk for like 20 or 30 minutes starting tomorrow, and I want to do that like every day. Like I need to start getting active, and I really want to do that and like listen to music or my audiobook. My neighbor across the street, she walks every day on the corner, and so I asked her if I could walk with her, and she was like, yeah, sure. And then my neighbor next door, Laura, who did the mini marathon, she and her mom walk a lot, but like she walks on the other days by herself, and so she said I could walk with her too. She's a fast walker, so that would probably be good for me. And then my neighbor across the street, her husband is well, he's retiring like this week, tennis coach. And so I was saying to him, would you, like, I played tennis growing up all through, like, you know, my freshman year in high school, and so I said I would love to play tennis if you want to play tennis, and he was like, yeah, he was like, that would be so much fun. So we're gonna do that. And then my neighbor to my neighbor to my right, she's like the recreation organizer or director or whatever in the neighborhood, so she tries to put all this stuff together, and she is trying to hire a water aerobics person to come out here twice a week, and she would work off of like we would pay her, like each of us, like $10 like a session plus tips, or $5 or $10 a session plus tips. And it would be like twice a week for like a half an hour to like I think like an hour or something like that. And she was like, are you interested in doing it? And I was like, oh my God, I would be so interested in doing water aerobics. Like I would love that. It would be like at 10 o'clock in the morning, which if I did it twice a week would be great, because then I'd be up at 10 o'clock in the morning and then come back and like rest for a little bit and have a cup of coffee. And then I could like start filming and be done by like 2 or something and be able to enjoy the rest of the day, maybe go to the pool or whatever. So that would be like perfect for me, you know? Plus I'm just looking for fun ways to be active and get outside and get my butt moving a little bit. Like I think I really need that. You know, it's not just about the intake of food or the losing of weight, it's about being active as well. And so I'm really looking for ways to do that. My major goal for the week is to clean all of the weeds out of my walkway. That's what I'm going to be doing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because it is horrific. And it is like, I feel like because of the rain that we've had this week, like it's rained a lot at night, I feel like the weeds just like, can't snap. They like grew out of nowhere. And so I've got to weed this, and then we've got to buy mulch and put new mulch down because it's pretty bad. And the flowers are beautiful. If this was all picked up, it would be fine, but it won't take me that long. I mean, it's probably like 10 feet on either side down there, and then like 10 feet right along here, and then it's pretty good. So, hey!
Peter, how are you doing?
Good. Where's the missus?
She's in Florida.
In Florida? Aww.
She's got an old friend there that she grew up with since childhood.
How fun!
And she moved there about 15 years ago, so Jackie goes down about every year, spends a week with her.
How fun! So you're a bachelor this week, huh? You're a bachelor this week.
Yes. Enjoying it.
We'll enjoy it. Hey. 2 dogs walking down at the same time. I love my neighborhood. I mean, everybody is so nice. And, you know, this is just a good example of, like, I was saying in my Peterisms video, like, you receive what you believe and whatever. And, you know, it was several years ago. It was when I really started going to the pool on a regular basis that I was like, I don't know any of my neighbors. Like, I want to start meeting my neighbors. And so I really had to work hard because of my social anxiety and coming out of that and introducing myself and saying, hey, how are you? Like, my name's Peter. Or, like, where do you live in the neighborhood? Oh, I live here and whatever. You know, my husband and I live here. And people were so friendly to me, and I just started meeting people. And then, you know, like, our neighbors to the right, like, they're so friendly, and my neighbors across the street. I mean, I just been so blessed, like, both of the neighbors. So there's across the street on the corner, and then there's right across the street, the neighbor with the garden, and then there's to the right, and then to the left. And all 4 of them are just so fantastic, and they come and they talk to me every day. Some of them come over here and sit in the other chair and talk to me. And I just feel so blessed. But like the guy that just like walked by, he and his wife walk by every day. They have like a standard poodle that they let like grow out longer. It's cute. And he's like 2 years old. They rescued him, and then the other woman that was walking by with her little dog. And people walk by here and they're like, hey, Peter, how are you? Are you filming a video? Like, everybody in my neighborhood knows what I do. They're always like, are you filming a video? I'm like, no, not right now, you know, or whatever. And they'll come up and talk. And I mean, it's just, I feel like my life has just expanded since I have got to meet my neighbors and become friendly with them. And that was all because I started talking and putting my hand out. Like, had I decided that I was just gonna stay closed mouth and not talk to people or whatever, like, that wouldn't be the case. And I had to come out of my shell, and I had to be, you know, and because a lot of people, I mean, a lot of them were like, hey, how are you? But like, I'd just be like, fine, you know, and just not really say anything. And so I had to come out of that and realize that it was important for me to have neighbors that I knew, you know? And I think what's interesting is, like, when I grew up, like in the neighborhood that I grew up in, I grew up in a cul-de-sac, and like, I knew all my neighbors. I could have gone to any of my neighbors' house at any time, and, you know, if I was like in danger or whatever, and, you know, I ate at my neighbors' houses, and we played, all the kids in the neighborhood, you know, and we knew everybody. And then I think there was like a long period of time where I feel like we're kind of getting back to that, you know, in 2022, 23, whatever. Like, people are starting to get more neighborly again. Like, a lot of my friends, like, will sit in their backyard and have like beers with their neighbors. Caroline's very close with a lot of her neighbors. You know, Tanya knows her neighbors and stuff like that. And so people like have lemonade or beer with their neighbors, or be like, come on over, we're gonna have, you know, hamburgers. I feel like people are getting more back to that. But I feel like there was a long time when people weren't super neighborly, and people were kind of like closed about their lives and whatever. And this neighborhood is so nice. Like, it's so just, you know, like, Alex knows everybody, and so like when he's like outside walking the dog or, you know, leaving away, he's always like waving to somebody. And I don't know, it's just really nice to be able to, you know, have that and know people, and it's very comforting, and it also like makes me feel very safe in the neighborhood, you know. There's nobody that if I needed something, I couldn't just like walk across to their house or knock on their door and be like, hey, like, can you help me? Or like, I need to ride somewhere or whatever. That wouldn't like immediately help me. Like, they're so just generous and awesome. And they always ask me, they're like, do you need to go to the grocery store? Do you need to go here? I mean, my neighbor across the street, like the husband of the wife that gardens, like, he is like every day, like, he pulls out and he's like, do you need to go with, I can take you wherever you need to go every single day. Like, I mean, it's amazing, you know? And it's just the kindness of people that I think you really have to be open to realizing that the world is, there's a lot of kindness out there in the world, you know? I think, I was talking about this in my rant video today, and I know that there's going to be some people that are going to like listen to it and take offense to it, but I was talking about my phone the other day and how I don't look at my phone before I go to bed, and I don't look at it in the morning before I get up. And there were a few people that responded to that and were like, I don't know why the phone is any different than your TV, and you watch TV all night long. Okay, I don't know why you took it so personally, first of all. I'll just say that. Two things I want to say is that, number one, and this is kind of me just like ranting a little bit, but number one, it was interesting to me that on my video where I specifically said, I'm going to ask you guys to hold back a little bit and not give medical advice, how many of you immediately gave me medical advice? Like, I thought that was very interesting. I like specifically said, like, the medical advice is like really overwhelming to me. Please do not do that, or I'm gonna have to not read the comments. And like, I got so many comments on that video that were directly medical advice. And I don't know, but that was really interesting to me. The other thing was how many people were offended that I said that about my phone. That's just what works for me, okay? I'm not saying that if you guys, like, if you love social media and you want to be on social media 24 hours a day, hey, do it. Like, that's your business. It's your life, and I don't judge. Like, do what you want to do. It's just, for me, that's not what works best for me. My husband spends the majority, my husband and my best friend are on social media all the time. My husband loves Instagram, okay? He is on Instagram. If you if you post on his Instagram posts, or if you comment, he comments back to you. He is on Instagram all the time. He loves it. He loves TikTok, right? I just don't. My good Judy Tiny Jean, she's on Facebook 24 hours a day. She loves the Facebook, okay? I don't. I think it's of the devil. But it was interesting to me that like so many people were so offended by that when I said that. They were like, well, you watch TV shows. First of all, I don't necessarily feel like TV shows are the same as social media, but I understand what you're saying. It's like, okay, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You're kind of wasting your time watching TV shows, and you're saying people waste their time on social media. It's just how I feel. I feel like when I spend a lot of time on social media, I'm wasting my time. But if you want to do it, have at it. It's your life. Like, I could care less. You know what I mean? It was interesting to me that people kind of like felt like that. Like, hey, don't be saying that about social media, you know? So I don't know why people took it so personally. It wasn't like I was trying to come for anybody. And if it came across that way, I truly didn't mean it that way. Like, I really don't, you know? Like, I don't even say anything to my husband anymore, you know? I used to, like, tease him and be like, God, is this your 6th hour on Instagram? And he'd be like, so what if, you know? Like, if I want to be my whole life on Instagram, I will, you know? And be like, yeah, you're right, you know? And Tiny Jean's the same way. Like, I joke with her about Facebook, and she'll be like, you know, well, if that's what I want to do. And I'm like, hey, have at it, you know? But I don't even say those things anymore because it's whatever anybody wants to do. And I do watch a hell of a lot of TV. Like, I know that, you know? So maybe it is the same thing. I don't know. But I don't understand why people were so butthurt by it. I didn't really get that. It's like, I'm just telling you what I do, okay? I'm just telling you that for me, it clears my mind. It's also very similar. It's like I don't watch TV up till the minute that I go to bed. I cannot snap today. I don't know why. I don't watch TV up till the minute that I go to bed. Like, I don't watch a show and then, like, go to bed immediately. Like, I watch a show, and I know, like, a lot of people probably think, like, well, this is why you're, like, in your head, because I've gotten this comment a lot, and I thought about it, because people will be like, well, you watch all these shows, and then you're wired for sound, and then you go to bed, but I don't. Like, often, like, I turn off my iPad, I go inside, I plug it in, I get, like, a glass of water, I sit out here, I do my prayers and my meditations, typically out here, and I kind of just sit and I listen to the sounds of the universe. Sometimes I listen to music. I kind of just calm myself down, you know, and then, like, after 20 or 30 minutes, I go upstairs and brush my teeth and wash my face, and then I lay down and go to bed. It's not like I, like, turn the TV off and I'm, like, going to sleep, like, right away, you know? I don't do real well with anything that is technological up to the moment that I go to sleep. Like, I really, really struggle with that. And that's just me, and those are things that my therapists have both therapists have recommended to me, in not being tuned in to the internet or TV or whatever right up until the moment I go to bed, because of how I'm wired. Alex can watch TV up until the very second that he goes to bed, and he can turn it off, and I mean, with literally, here, I'm not going to be able to snap again. Literally, he can turn it off and be asleep in 5 seconds. He can be on TikTok or on Instagram or playing his game on his phone and literally, like, plug his phone in and be asleep 5 seconds later. I can't do that. That's just me. And I'm just sharing my experience of what my life is like. So if it works for you, it works for you. You know, do it. Like, I'm not somebody that I can do that. Tanya can be on Facebook and fall asleep while she's on Facebook. You know, that doesn't work for me. I have to kind of calm myself down a little bit, you know. And I think that's because I'm just kind of like the sensory overload or something of all of it. I don't know. I think that's why, like, I really enjoy sitting out here, no matter what time of day it is, whether it's 4 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because just the sounds of nature and just seeing the birds and, you know, just, I don't know, the pleasantries of the neighbors walking by, all of it is just very peaceful for me. And also, it allows me to kind of, like, reflect on my life and my world, you know, and not feel totally overwhelmed. I'm somebody that gets overwhelmed easily with a lot of stuff. Like, I was talking today in my rant video, and I was joking about a lot of it, but I really do believe that Twitter is toxic, and I was talking about that. For me, and I know it's not like this for a lot of people, but when I read something, you know, and I'm, like, watching videos of people that are, like, causing disturbances in stores and going off on people or whatever, like, it's a little overwhelming for me. Like, I start thinking too much about it, and I get upset about it, and I start thinking, like, why is the world like this, and, like, I don't understand it, and, you know, and so, and I don't know if some of you out there are like that or not, there are a lot of people that can look at that stuff and 5 seconds later walk away from it and it doesn't bother them at all. It's very much like when I was at work, I always had a hard time clocking out. Like, it's very similar to that with me. Like, when I watch something, like whether it's a TV show, like that's why it takes me 20 to 30 minutes to kind of unwind after that. Or if I'm looking at social media, like it's hard for me to unwind sometimes because like that's in my head and I'm still thinking about that. And so I have to be very cognizant of that, of what I'm putting in, and kind of allowing myself to unplug from that for a while. And that's really all I meant by what I said the other day. I wasn't really trying to offend anybody that loves social media. Like I said, if you love social media, love social media. I'm surrounded by people that love social media, you know? And obviously, like, my job is on social media, so there, to some extent, I do love it. I consider YouTube is social media. I consider that social media, you know? But anyway. Well, I should probably water my plants today, but I feel like they can go one more day. They're doing really good. I'm really just like, oh, I'm really, look at how pretty they are. And down here. I'm really happy with them, and I hope that they last all summer long. I don't think I need more. I was going to get one more and have it behind here. And then I was going to get one for each end down there. But I don't think I need it. I think that this is enough. I think it was a little bit overloaded last year with too many plants. And I don't want to do that. And I still want to do the back patio. And I want to have like a lot of plants. Like big leaf, green leaf plants on the back patio. And not as many like flowers and things like that. So, I don't know, maybe Caroline and I will go to Costco tomorrow and I can look at a few plants to put on the back patio. We'll see. All right, you guys, well, I'm going to get off here. So, I hope that you are having a magically amazing Tuesday. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Remember these 3 very important things. 1, you can start your day over whenever you want. 2, practice random acts of kindness, but shh, don't tell anyone. And 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. You might be putting a smile on their face. You might be changing their day. You might be making them feel happier. And you might just be making them feel more positive about the world. And also, be kinder to one another. Love one another a little bit more. And most importantly, yes, most importantly, be kinder and love yourselves a little bit more. And I love you guys so much. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Oh, and for those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just happen to stick around, 1 more, I love you. 2 more, 3 more, 4 more, I love yous. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Happy birthday, Lena.